This week on the podcast, we're talking console wars, whether it's time to say RIP and taking a cheeky look back at the nonsense, asking who won and what the war even is now in a world of Game Pass, PS Plus, Steam and Playing Anywhere. Plus, we're back with our Festive Gaming Buying Guide 2025 to help you save cash this Christmas. And in this week's Pixel Picks Showdown, we're naming the best system seller, the game that made you buy the damn box. All this and more on this week's Pixel Parents Podcast. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Pixel Parents Podcast, the show that discusses all things gaming from the perspective of parents. I'm your host, Liam Kirkkelvin, and today I'm of course joined by the bearded one, Scott, the tastemaker Curry. How are we, Scott?
I'm very well. Very well, actually. I've also just noticed that your name on the recording, I don't know, it says it on yours, it's Pixel Parents Podcast on yours, not Liam Kirkkelvin.
It's been a change.
That's your name. That's your new name. So, officially changed the name. I don't know if the viewers can see that though, but
They can't.
no. Well, you don't know what I'm talking about. But down here somewhere, it says names, and he's just put his name as Big Pussy. A Sopranos reference
Of course
in this day and age. But I'm fine. Yeah, I've been seeing. Sorry, this is a tangent and a half here. But I've been seeing a lot of Sopranos videos on my Instagram. Like, my algorithm is filled with fucking nonsense for the most part. But there's this guy that he does loads of different quotes as Tony Soprano, and it's fucking incredible. Like, he's like a guy with like really long hair. I'd need to try to find it, but he's fucking hilarious. But on top of that, Bobby Bacala, the guy who plays him, has got Instagram. He's got like wee wiener dogs, and he's been posting relentlessly over the last few weeks.
Wholesome content.
I've been obsessed, Liam. Like, it's found me at the right moment, I think, and it's hinting that a Sopranos rewatch is in my future, I think.
That's why I did that last year. Probably about the time we started the podcast, and it was one of the best decisions I made.
Phenomenal.
It's incredible how it can still hook you, you know, and there's still a lot of people that still haven't let it into their lives. And it's just so wonderfully watchable. It's so Moorish. You're just thinking, I'll just stick another one on that. It's terrible if you're trying to get an early night. But yeah, you should definitely go for it in the new year, man.
I absolutely will. But in answering your first question, I don't even know if you asked me how I was, but I'm fine. I'm very well.
Good.
It's been a week. It's been a strange week, and I'm excited to actually talk about it because I didn't get much of an opportunity to talk about it last week with you with Dispatch and all the other fingers and pies that you had. So,
Indeed.
I gave a little bit of a tease on the Patreon this week, and my side quest with Scott about what I might be talking about this week. So, if you've listened to that, then here we are. But how are you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm good. It's been a week. You know, it's been 1 week since you looked at me. You know, got your head to the side and said, "No, I'm joking. I'm not doing that." It's the same thing, man. It feels like we're now starting into the downward slope into Christmas, which is good fun. And obviously, at the time of recording, and when this comes out, it'll be Thanksgiving weekend over in the States. You know, happy Thanksgiving to all our American friends out there, except the ones that are taking this weekend off to not make content. Podcast to listen to.
You would do it. This man is so bitter about people taking time off. Unreal.
Honestly.
More holidays than the Queen.
I know. I wish. Honestly. King? I don't know.
Aye.
Who cares?
Is Camilla Queen?
Queen Consort. I think.
Cool chat.
I don't know. It all sounds like a Netflix show to me, to be honest with you.
But I mean, it is literally a Netflix show.
Yeah.
The Crown. So, speaking of Netflix shows, have you caught up on Stranger Things?
I mean, I've watched all the seasons up to now, but I've not watched the first 4 episodes of the new season. That's going to be the treat for the weekend, which is also going to be the weekend where we're putting up the Christmas decorations. So have you watched them yet?
No.
No. In fact, have you watched Stranger Things?
Adult man, Liam. No, I did. I've watched it all.
Yeah.
I disliked the season where 11 became an edgy emo. That was a bit of a pain in the arse.
Yeah.
And
They retconned it well.
yeah, they really did. But the last season, that monologue by Vecna and whatever his name was, one or whatever, was fucking incredible. Like
It was.
I would watch montages of that on Instagram after it came out. It was phenomenal. So I'm not really sure what to expect, but yeah, here we are.
Here we are, mate. The final run. No, it's good. It's something to look forward to in the box. I didn't realise it was Thanksgiving weekend. I was like, why are they doing it on a Thursday? Makes sense now. But anyway, I digress. This is not a time to talk about the television. It's time for us to talk about some damn video games. So let's get some housekeeping out the road, shall we? So for those listening, this is the Pixel Parents Podcast, the weekly podcast by parents who game for those who do the same. Where each week we discuss all things gaming while raising little ones. Now, every Friday, you can listen and see your old dads talk video games on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So please subscribe to us on YouTube if you're not there already, so you don't miss our mugs. And if you want to be part of the podcast, come say hello and share your thoughts with us at pixelparents.bsky.social on Blue Sky, or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, come join our free Patreon so you don't miss an episode, chat with the community, and get bonus shows all for free. Simply visit patreon.com/pixelparents. And if you're not there, just leave a wee 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. Share it online with your pals. Whatever you do, it makes a massive difference. So thank you very much for everybody that joins us each and every week. And a special shout out, and you know who you are listening, the ones that do actually go and share our content online. It always is such a wonderful, wonderful surprise. And, you know, we're not worthy of it, but yeah, we really do appreciate it. So you're the real ones. Thank you. Be more like them. Do exactly what they do. Share it online. We appreciate it.
Do the damn thing. Fuck it. Share it with everyone. Tell your mom about it.
Exactly. Moz will love us, you know. I hope. They won't actually disapprove of us. But with all that out the way, Scott, get this chaos out the road. Let's get back on track. You've got a review you want to kick things off with this week, don't you?
I do indeed, yes. It's been quite an exciting little week. So, off the back of the news from the Xbox, what was it, the Xbox Direct or something like that? Or
Partner Showcase.
Partner Showcase. See, I don't know the terminology. They announced that CloverPit was coming to Game Pass, and at the same time, put it all up on the socials that if you want a code, let's go for it. So your man here, stupid as all hell, was just like, you know what? I love gambling. You know, I'm a slot fiend. I am Marge Simpson in that episode of The Simpsons. Like, keep gambling.
Gambler.
I am gambler. I need a gambler, but it's been an obsession, Liam. It really has been an obsession this week, and I've really, really enjoyed my time with it. So, basically, CloverPit. How do you describe CloverPit, Liam? It is a roguelite horror game and not a slot machine simulator. It is not a simulation game for slot machines, so gambling is not the main aim here. It's designed to be broken, so you break the game basically to win. Its Steam description calls it a roguelite slot machine nightmare. Gamble your life away in a never-ending debt simulator. Real life, you know what I mean? We're all living in debt is great. However, it's basically the simple premise for this game is that you're locked in a room with a slot machine. So there's a slot machine in front of you, and you just pull that handle, and you get given targets to do so. So first one's like maybe like 70 coins, then that jumps up and jumps up and jumps up, and as you do it, you unlock different things. Kind of like, I'm trying to say this whole review, Liam, without saying the obvious here. It's like Balatro, but it's like fucking Balatro, right? Let's get that out of the road now.
Yeah, fair enough.
If you make the target, you move on to the next level when it increases, and you get a wee ticket to spend. A nice wee ticket, which is lovely. You can use that to buy things called Lucky Charms, or different sort of things around the room, where your Lucky Charms give you boons, give you upgrades, different things like multipliers, more spins of the slot machine, loads of different effects basically. And that's how you break this game. Like, you apply these things in conjunction with each other. Like, there was one that basically, if it procs, you get an extra spin of the wheel. There's one that if you have a row of 3, then you get like another boost and stuff like that as well. So you constantly play around with that. You can get items that make certain things show up. Like, you get like certain things show up quite a lot, but every single time you finish one of the levels, it's got a deadline. So every single time you meet one of those deadlines, you get like a permanent upgrade for that run. So that might be that, diamonds and treasure chests show up more often, or the value of cherries and clovers is more than it usually is, or whatever. So there's loads of different things that you do to break this game and ultimately make your way out of this pit. But if you fail any of those levels, you drop. So the pit is real and it is looming, and you fall down that pit many times. It's an allegory for life, isn't it? A pit.
True.
A pit of despair. But yeah, so once you actually master the relationship between certain items, so these lucky, these like, what do you call them? I said it literally 2 seconds.
Charms.
Lucky charms, yeah. Once you actually find the correct combination, it's basically you look for them every single run. It's like in Balatro when you have like the banana or something, or certain ones that you look for every single time, because that's the run done basically. And I think that it's a cool concept in theory with that. But I think that ultimately, when I told you that we'd got this game, you were like, "What? Like, this is going to take you forever to complete." Looking at time to beat, and it took me 7 hours to get through it because I'm a fucking machine, Liam. I just pull that slot until it gives me the fucking things that I want to see, and I think that it rides a line where that's, for what it's doing, it's the right amount of time to play that game for. And a completionist run, if you're going for 100% of everything, then 30 hours plus probably. But 7 hours is a nice place where you're enjoying your time with it. Anything more than that, I think it could get a bit of a pain in the arse, because it's luck at the end of the day for the most part. For the first few runs, there was runs where I would pull it the first time and I was like, nah, fuck this, I'm leaving, and then I'd just leave. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing this anymore. But it's an interesting take on what seems to be a recurring theme at the moment, where gambling roguelikes are like so in right now. They're so hot right now. Do you know? It's a phenomenon, but I think that in a world post Balatro, this just, it hits, but it doesn't hit enough. Like, I think it does so much so well that I could see a future where CloverPit 2 does really well. But I think that this just goes so far and doesn't take that step up. You know what I mean? It's like Liverpool this season. They've done so well last year, and now they just can't step up. They can't make that next step. And look at them, Liam. They're fucking shite. So it's alienate the entire city of Liverpool in this podcast, because
here comes the Arsenal fan. Yeah. I can't really laugh.
But fucking finally get my flowers. But with CloverPit, I was playing it and it was just like, it's just missing this special something. Like, the multipliers are good, but they don't feel nice when you hit them. It's got this really grungy, dirty look to it, which fits the theme of the game, but it doesn't really do it any favours in terms of, making it exciting to play. It's very much, it's like Saw. If Saw was a gambling game, you know what I mean? Like, this is what it would be. But that's not to trash it, you know what I mean? Like, it's a good 7 out of 10, I'd say. Like, it's not a great game, it's a very good game. And I think it's something that, because it's on Game Pass, that if you've got Game Pass, it's something that you could eat hours away on. Like, you could lose a few hours on it and it's quite fun. But as I say, it does so much so well, but I just don't think it nails the ending. Like, when you finish that game, it's like, all right, okay, but it doesn't then say, but let's go again. Like,
Yeah.
let's just see how we can do this better. It's just like, that's it, done. And you're like, right, okay, well, I guess I'll turn this off now and go and play something completely different. But yeah, I finished it at about 7 hours, and I have absolutely no desire to return to it. It's like, it's
Fair
strange,
enough.
just finishing it and then putting it down, because with a bilateral, like, if I put that game on, I'm done. I'm gone. Like,
Yeah,
it's I
yeah.
have to.
Endlessly replayable.
Yeah, I've had to delete it, and I think that's a difficult sort of relationship to have, because it's, you know, it is going to compete with a game like Bilateral, and you are going to compare it to it, not
Mm-hmm.
kind of naturally. But yeah, I think that, as I say, if you've got Game Pass, give it a go. And I think that it is fairly cheap. I'm just trying to see if there's anything on the other details and stuff like that, but there's nothing really on it that mentions it. But to be honest with you, I can't imagine it would be, you know, that expensive, to be honest with you. I think that you're not looking at a game that's going to be
Yeah. I mean,
ridiculously expensive.
whilst you're looking, I mean, I definitely think, yeah, I do agree. I've played a few hours myself of CloverPit, and it's been something that had high hopes for after the showcase, thinking this could be something that fills that bilateral shaped hole in my life, and
Mm-hmm.
it has those little pepperings of it. I think my biggest criticism of it, whilst I find it very enjoyable and very Moorish, is that the fact that you're in this, as you mentioned, saw like, room that you have to escape effectively. It gets in the rhythm, gets in the way of its own rhythm a little bit. Whereas I just want to be pulling the lever
Yeah,
a lot of times, and it's like, if they had a way to almost make it one button input, but you're actually controlling yourself like you would in any standard first person,
yeah,
and that rhythm interruption just kind of hinders the addictiveness of it a little
mm-hmm.
bit, which is, now that might not be what they're going for, but going in, you're thinking, right, okay, that's actually quite a clever take on the gambling roguelike, the bilateral influence, etc. I do respect that it's going for its completely own tone. It's got this N64 PS1 type vibe about it. It's, it's minging. It's a bit, minging is the word, to be
Yeah,
honest
isn't it?
with
Yeah,
you.
that's why I'm laughing.
And it's just, you're in this pit of hell, and it totally nails the aesthetic. There's an uneasiness about it. It
Yeah,
feels evil, but yeah, I totally agree with everything you were saying there, to be fair, and I totally understand. I think, if you did have Game Pass like me, I just jumped on immediately, and it's like, cool. I'm happy it's there, and it's
yeah,
something I would probably return to be fair, because I'm interested in just finishing it, but it's not something that I'm pure champing at the bit to get back to the now. But at
yeah.
first it was at
Yeah,
first, but
no, I
then
mean,
as I
that's
put it
it.
on,
Yeah, I was the same way. I put it on. I was buzzing to play it, and then the more I played it, I was like, I'm done with this now.
yeah,
I checked online, so on Steam it's £8.50, and on the Xbox you can buy it for £8.39, which is a little bit of a strange price. So
hmm,
less than £9 for it. I think it's a fair
sorry,
deal for 7 hours of your time. I think that's all right, and you could play it for longer. It's not you're not going to be pro gamers like
hmm.
me, so it's that's just something you have to contend with. But you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I finish these games quickly.
absolutely,
um,
absolutely.
and yeah, it's fun. Like, as I say, I think that if you had a DLC or something for it, like, you could see that doing well. I think it has
Hmm.
crossovers with Bilateral in it as well. Like everything else, I think
Yeah, of
that
course.
the Joker's in it. So um,
Ben Star DLC
Ben
if you
Star
had
DLC,
incoming.
aye. So it's good. It is good, but it's fallen foul to a few games this week, Liam. Like,
Hmm.
it hit at the wrong time. I picked it up and I was like, Demon Skills coming out the next day, and
Oh yeah.
I was already in the midst of another game. A review for Demon Skill will come, ladies and gentlemen. I am. I'm just enjoying it too much. I am. I'm just
I
enjoying what I'm playing of it so much. Like, it's a
like
wee
that.
tease of it is that it's exactly what I wanted, but also completely different from what I expected,
Ooh.
which is great. Like, those kind of surprises really, really shock you.
Hmm.
And I'm choking to play it again, so it's upstairs on the Switch. But that game has also fallen foul of another game, Liam.
Hmm. Hmm.
Red Dead Redemption 1.
Oh yes, yes.
What?
You mentioned you bought that last week,
I
didn't you?
bought it was it last week I said that, or the week before?
I thought maybe 2 weeks ago.
2
Yeah.
weeks ago, aye. So I bought it. and then obviously the next day it got announced to coming on PlayStation Plus. So, what a fucking joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
PlayStation literally shitting all over me and fucking enjoying it. But I was just like, do you know what? I've bought it, so I'm fucking playing it. Like, I'm not, PlayStation cannot, they can't take this away from me. And I have I've played it non-stop. And I'm guessing that enough time has passed that we can talk about spoilers for Red Dead Redemption. I think that that's all fair game.
Yeah, I'm looking at my watch. It's about, I don't know,
20 minutes.
20. When did that game come out? Like
Oh, no,
2009, 2010. So 15 years. I think we're okay.
You're okay.
I think
Fine.
we're okay.
So I've just watched Dutch Vanderland fall to his demise.
Lovely.
And I'm currently doing menial tasks with Abigail and Jack Marston. And Liam, this is the furthest I've ever got in this game.
Really?
I've never seen Dutch die. Never seen him die.
Wow.
I've been up to the Neck Talkie Rock or whatever it was. I've been up there and I've seen the encampment where he is, but I've never seen anything more than that. Like, I never done all the jobs for the government or with McDougall or anything. It's all just been, this is all new, fresh stuff for me, and it's fucking brilliant. I love it. And I've been hunting and picking every herb that I've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have skinned about 40 bears on my travels. I've picked up every single rock and every single herb, and I'm obsessed. I've done all the treasure hunts. I'm about 80% in terms of total completion. And I think it just means that I will end up just trying to do everything in this game because it's an obsession at the moment.
Yeah.
I absolutely I love it. I've never, as I say, this is the furthest I've ever gotten it, and I'm actually seeing, John Marston for who he is. I think that going into Red Dead Redemption 2, I had no real memory of Dutch. Like, I didn't actually know what happened to him. To be fair, I couldn't even remember Bill or Javier, so it's not. It's been like pure. Oh, this is great. This is lovely. It's just sad that Arthur was never mentioned. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's cool, but it's like not even just like a throwaway comment that links to something weird. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's just been an absolute joy to play. Like, it still has all the fucking pitfalls of games of that era where it controls terribly. Climbing up things is an absolute nightmare. And certain things about it really irk me. Like, it's annoying as all balls, but I am genuinely obsessed with it at the moment. And it's, speaking of algorithms, man, I have seen more Red Dead Redemption 2 content on my Instagram than I think I've seen in my whole life. And it's just like, it's like, come and play me. Come and play me. I'm like,
it's so funny you mention it, because I have been thinking, we can't be far behind. Like, it's about time we get a Red Dead 2 next gen update. Now, Rockstar, we know they're not going to do that the same year the GTA thing comes out because it'll get overshadowed, but we know it'll be down the line some point, and it'll be amazing, because I would just love to experience that game at higher fidelity and also greater frame rates as well, just because I'm playing on PS5. But it's still jaw-dropping. But what's funny is I've been spending time in the twilight hours, Scott, on YouTube. We watch it. I can't remember the dude's name. If I do remember it as I'm talking, I'll give him a shout out. But he's been doing like a platinum run, and it's just an entertaining channel about him going for platinums. And it made me think of yourself, because I remember you being like that. I'm going to go get the platinum in Red Dead 2. And let me tell you, to hear the genuine like strain that this put this guy under, it's like over 200 hours, and it's just the little things, like the sheer amount of like animals and little things you have to do in Red Dead 2, let alone 1, because 1 was massive, but 2, I was like, my God, like they really did like go to town on that game, and it's got me excited for thinking about Grand Theft Auto 6, but also, I think I remember saying this to you privately a while back. We were probably playing online, I believe, and it was like, I fully expect Grand Theft Auto 6, and I hope that it is like another 50-hour story, and probably won't be, maybe because they're aiming for a more casual audience, but this has to be an epic of all epics. Because see if I get like a 20-hour story, even 30, I think I'd be happy with, but like something like 20, I'd probably be quite disappointed.
Yeah.
Especially after Red Dead 2, because it is an absolute epic of all proportions.
Just thinking about it, like the thought of playing it again fills me with so much dread. Like just because I know that it takes forever to complete. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the thought of going through it all over again, like the snowy parts at the beginning, just being like, oh god, here we go again. But let me tell you, if there's ever a time where I've wanted to play something more, it's this. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 is calling me like nothing else. But Red Dead Redemption 1 will be finished. I've never played Undead Nightmare either, so
It's very good.
I'll give that a go as well, just to see sort of what that's cooking there as well, and I'll report back in. But I've got to tell you, man, like this year has been a fucking revelation for me. It's been great. It's like reliving moments of my youth, and it's been fucking excellent. So this things like this, games like this being available to play all over again, it's fantastic, man. Like I know Rockstar aren't the what's the word? Aren't the bells of the ball at the moment, you know, they're kind of they're doing naughty things, but you know, no one can deny they make fucking good games. Like,
well, that's the frustrating thing. Yeah, that is the frustrating thing about it.
So it's so annoying.
Question the methods, but the output is unrivaled. But then that's probably why they are doing what they're doing, which is just very unsavoury things.
Yeah.
You know, quite wicked, dastardly deeds. But you're right. You're like that, man. Look at the games they're making. Like it's
disgusting. Like
it's a shame. David and Goliath stuff, really.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. It has its moments, right? It has its moments where it does falter, but I think it's genuinely up there with like top 5 games ever made. Like, and it might even be fucking top 3 on my list. Genuinely, like if I'm being serious about, you know, cinematic storytelling, characters, setting, everything, it's hard to deny it.
Yeah, I mean, was it this year I did my replay? Was it last year? I can't remember now.
I think it was last year.
I remember talking about it on this show, and yeah, I'm with you. Like that's one of if I could hand 3 games over to my son when he is, of course, Peggy 18, you know, when he's of age, that would definitely be one of them. You know, I'm like, just go play that, and I really look forward to that day. Maybe something like The Last of Us or something in there as well. But you know, these type of games where it's like you want these stories to live on forever, and these experiences. And Red Dead 2, it is a total labour of love, and I almost get a wee bit ticked off, but I fully understand people that's like, oh yeah, go to the snowy bit and I turned it off, it's too slow, whatever, and it's like, yeah, but it's totally immersing you in this world. But then you would give praise to another game that would be probably meanders a little bit more than it. I don't know. I just don't really agree with that criticism, but we're all different and entitled to our own opinions, Scott. But yeah, to quote them, let's keep on, let's keep moseying down this path and talking about games, shall we? Before I do, actually, you touched on something there, and it is like, you know, I look forward to the day when your true emulation era starts, because it's like that. I think that's coming up. Allegedly, should I add, you know, your alleged emulation era begins, because it is so good going back and revisiting all these games, and it's something I've, you know, tried to dabble with this year. Couldn't get it to quite work on my rig here, but it's something I think would be quite fascinating to go back and kind of do things like that emulation wise, because we're all gamers, you know, we remember these things so differently, and it's good to kind of go back and relive the youth a little bit, you know.
I think you're right. It's I really struggle with even things like Nintendo Switch Online. There's always like a bit of me that's like, yeah, I could play Earthbound. You know what I mean? I could go through that whole game, and then it's like I turn it on and I'm just like, I can't be arsed. It's there's something about it. But you might be right. You know, maybe the Steam machine will enter my world, and that'll be the gateway to alleged emulation.
If you want to pay PS5 Pro prices for a PS4 product, then yeah, on you go. Joking. Don't come at me.
Okay.
I am very intrigued to see what that does. I think it's definitely going to make a splash. Not for me, but yeah, I think it's definitely something I'd be cool to see if you do pick one up and report back.
I won't.
Who knows? I mean, it's definitely it's targeting that, that console-like experience.
Mm-hmm.
But just making it much more easier just to plug and play. Win-win. But I digress. I've got a tale to tell, Scott, this week. In terms of what I've been playing. Did the usual stuff, right? Bit of Ghost of Yoti, try to do the platinum run. Of course, I'm playing Power Wash Simulator 2 when I'm not playing it. Considering playing a new game, but I'm keeping my deck clear because I've got Metroid Prime 4 next week, right? So I don't want to go like...
What's the game?
Well, the game was something we talked about last week and completely FOMO'd out, and I've crowed out completely the game I'm playing this week. And that's Arc Raiders, Scott. I knew... Let me take you through the story here, right? So I knew that COD was going to be a tough sale for you, Scott, right? Because you're pish at it, right? So we needed to get a new game. Because I want the multiplayer experience, but when Scott Curry doesn't enjoy a game, you can tell immediately, particularly in the Call of Duty front, and I'm like, nah, this isn't going to be it this year, because, he can't get good.
It's so
painful to watch.
It is
painful to watch.
So fucking pish.
So I thought, right, well, what's next? And then it was at the weekend, I thought, well, there's Arc Raiders, and I keep getting to talk about algorithms. I'm getting bombarded with stuff, and I'm like, right, okay, let's go have a look. I had a wee voucher there on my Xbox, using those reward points that I'd saved up for deals. So I had a wee bit there. And I thought, do you know what? Let's just dip in. I remember texting you, and I was like, I need this multiplayer option. I think I'm going to go for it. And even though I myself haven't given up on Call of Duty, I know I'll still go back for that quick sugar hit. Let's go into Arc Raiders. And we went into Esperanza for the first time. And I have to say, I'm enjoying the raiding. They've not had too many sessions on it in the past week because obviously got busy lives. I knew from the outset the looting would pull us both in, but particularly yourself, Scott, because you love a bit of loot. But, what I would say is, I definitely get and appreciate the tension of this game. It almost feels like a horror game at times. Very early days in my journey, but I do have some stories, and I do think I've already begun my villain arc within Arc Raiders, just because there we were about to exfiltrate outside. We had a bag full of loot, and then some swine takes us out right by the elevator. So I thought, nah, this won't happen again. The final day was truly born online, and there you go. We'll go back into another raid. We're in the train ready to go. There's people coming, and I'm like, nope, let's get this thing closed and off we go. So I was like, see you later. But yeah, I know you've been playing it with us as well, Scott. That's definitely been one of those things. I've thoroughly enjoyed that different type of multiplayer setting.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a big question around it, but what have you made of your time in it?
I'm kind of with you. To be honest with you, it's been a shock that it's actually I've been enjoying it quite as much as I have been. I'm not feeling as if the people that have been playing it for a longer time are better as well. It's not like they have all this gear and are fucking me over. It's you kind of make your own way through it, and that you make your own stories as you go through. The arcs themselves are a challenge enough. Never mind fucking other people there. And the games that we've played have been fun. Like it's always been, you have those moments where you can take a minute and you can talk shite, but then there's also those moments where you're watching someone do something and it's like, oh my god, are they going to turn around and shoot me? Fear. But it's fun, like it is. It's stupid fun. I have absolutely no idea what to do in the menus. No idea, and I don't think I ever will. But we'll figure it out. You're talking about your villain arc. I had a beautiful moment the other day, Liam. So my work week, I've been working later this week, so I started about quarter to 11, Monday to Friday, and I think it was yesterday morning or the morning before. I was just sitting at about 10 o'clock. I'd taken the dog out. I'd had my breakfast, and I had 45 minutes before I went to work. And I was like, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just sit and play something for a bit. Didn't feel like playing Red Dead at that point, so I turned on the Xbox just by chance and remembered that Art Raiders was on there. So I was like, do you know what? You said that the solo gameplay didn't you didn't jive with it initially,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was like, well, I'll give it a go just for the show and see how we get on. And Esperanza went into there, went up to the electrical place to try and get wire because I've been fucking hunting for wire forever. And as I was doing it, I saw this huge, that big fucking spider arc
Oh
thing that
God,
was
aye.
there, and I was like, oh shite. And then all of a sudden, I could just hear some guy like just like walking through, and I was like, what the hell is that? I turned around and it's just this guy, cowboy hat on, just like a cowboy hat on, just walking behind me. Like, what the hell is going on here? So he was at, he's like that whole, character says don't shoot, and I was like, right,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And then he came on the microphone and just started talking, and he was like that, like chatting away. And honestly, I was an American guy, and I sat and spoke to him for about 5 minutes, and I was like, I'm honestly, I'm just hiding here because this big fucking thing's over there. And he's like, all right, well, we'll just kill it. Like, what? Like, no, I'm not going anywhere near this fucking thing. So he's like, no, we'll just do it. So went to do it, managed to get there, and we got our loot and stuff. And he was like, are we leaving? I was like, well, are we leaving? Like, you tell me, you've been playing the game fucking longer than I have. Um, so managed to get down. You press the button and everything starts to get alerted, so everything starts to fucking zone in on you. And I felt it, Liam. I felt that
Yeah.
gut wrenching moment when I was at the keys of the terminal inside the elevator, like, he's going to do it. He's going to fucking do it here. I have so much stuff to go away with this. I have my wire, Liam. I have my
Hmm.
wire, but he didn't do it. And we got out,
Nice.
and it was beautiful. And I got a trophy that says exfiltrated with, random person in lobby, and it felt nice. That is like
Nice.
that's the reason why this game has been made. It's like jolly cooperation. But then again, see when we get to that point where we are killing people just willy nilly, I can't wait for it. Like, I cannot fucking wait for it. The proper villain arc, like just killing, mowing every single person down is going to feel so good.
Absolutely. I mean, it's probably likely going to replace the Christmas COD session with a
Yeah.
Christmas Ark Raiders session, as we always do, just as Santa's arriving. Big question, I suppose, is, I've been asking myself, is do I have the time? And the question is, I don't know, but I want to. And that's a good space to be in. There's still other games coming, and obviously it's busy time of year in it, but I'm looking forward to those nights, where it's just like, just fire out a fly text, it's like, do I jump on for another, whatever it is, because it's creating stories.
Yeah.
And I get it. Because there we go. We've only been playing the past week. We've both had little stories there to share. And it's funny. It's hilarious. It's also tense as all hell. And it's such a reliance on communication. You're playing this very, very differently to what you would standard multiplayer shooter,
Yeah.
And it's not a multiplayer shooter in that regard, I suppose. It's an extraction shooter, sorry.
An extraction shooter.
Yeah, and I get it. I think it's, if you put something like zombies in this or something, nah, I'm out. I think if you put something in like Walking Dead, Last of Us, that type of stuff, I'm like, nah, like I'm just not playing that. But the fact that it's big robots,
Yeah, I was going to say,
yeah,
this man loves some robots.
I do love robots. That's very true. So some lore there. Yeah, I do love robots. But yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back on here, and as we grow in our experience as Ark Raiders, we can share more stuff with our lovely listeners as well. But I'm moving things on quickly because I'm just realising the time now, because we've got more stuff to talk about. But we'll just wrap things up in terms of what we've been playing this week. Luminous Arise, still been playing that. The kids hate me playing it. My son calls it that boring game, but I still feel love this trippy Zen experience. It's still absolutely engrossing all the way through as both a sensory experience and as an addictive puzzler and transcendent, Scott. I say it's just one of those games I'll be happy to just have on my home bar and I'll just constantly go back to. It's that type of game, and I do want to, just before we go into the next bit, just talk about, just playing games with the wee ones, because I've probably not touched on it the past couple of weeks properly, but I think my son's finally finding the confidence to take on bosses. which is good because for the longest time I mentioned previously, he's got this anxiety about fighting bosses. I think when Patrick was on the show, we were talking about that, and I get it. But things like Astrobots, whenever he plays Astrobot, he gets that wee bit of confidence. And then you go to something like Mario Galaxy 2, and it just made me really love and appreciate Astrobot more, because I think there's a difficulty curve in there. There is challenge, of course, because those challenges are fucking murder. But I think it's way better for a kid to pick up and play than arguably on what Mario Galaxy 2 is, because I'm seeing him getting really frustrated by some of the stuff. And it looks dead simple to me, but I'm like, actually, that would be quite, difficult, and he can get quite raging at points when he's playing these things and they can't get past it. But I'm just...
We gave up when Yoshi got in, when Yoshi came out and you had to use the tongue. Like, we just couldn't do it. So it's like, there was no point trying to play this now. Like, let's just put it aside and play something else. Yeah,
it's a bit more involved at that point, isn't it? But I do wonder if there's any other listeners as well that experience the same thing that we're talking about here. Is there some kid games, as you would say, that are actually proving too hard for them? I'd be keen to find out what ages the kids are, why, just to get some different experience on it as well. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because, we are Pixel parents, I suppose, at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, can I go 2 type of main topics this week? So this one's probably your little starter, then we'll get to the main, right? So, of course, as I mentioned off the bat, it's our Christmas Gaming Buying Guide 2025. Something we did last year, Scott. Something we'll do just a little bit quicker and much more to the point, because at the time of this going live, it will officially be Black Friday. That's when we get to see the TikTok videos of Americans beating the living daylights at each other with trolleys to buy 10 tellies that they don't need. So, of course, it's a time to grab a bargain for gaming. It's all over the place. You've got to hustle, and I do believe it's just the start. The bargains don't end after Black Friday. I know you've got Cyber Monday, you've got all that stuff as well, but you tend to find that if the stuff that's been discounted is going to pop up again over this next 6 to 8 week period, I would say, into January, and it's always worth keeping an eye on it because you can get some good bargains for yourself off of that gamer in your life. But yeah, going to start off the top here, Scott, with consoles. Now, I don't know, I've came prepared with this, Scott. I've not checked if you have. So I want to see, do you want me just to keep waxing lyrical here?
You are the generation game of console information. You're that escalator that goes through.
I feel like this is the Martin Lewis moment,
the breakout moment for Liam.
That's it, the final day. We're going to have him on an ITV show. But yeah, off the bat, we're going to start with the PlayStations, right? Because the deals are in abundance this year. So it's a great time to dive in if it's something that you want to get for yourself or for a wee one in your life. You can nab a digital edition. I checked, about 289 quid, right? From the likes of Argos and Black Friday, saving about 140 quid. Considering they're 430 quid. That's a really good deal. That is a digital one. You can pick up a disc version at about 379 quid at Smiths, saving about 100 quid in total. But the big one for me, notice the PS5 Pros also came down in price, Scott.
Yeah.
Argos at 569, which is an absolutely insane deal. Like, kind of borderline raging. But I say that because PS5 Pro, you might have some other gamers in your life, or you might be somebody yourself that's wanting to upgrade this Christmas, maybe drop some hints to Santa, or you might have a teenager that's writing a list. Whatever it is, a PS5 Pro is, I think, very applicable for that type of clientele. For wee kids, unless, of course, you're feeling flush, listen, each to their own, right? Do you want to splash the cash in the wee ones? Get them a PS5 Pro, more power to you. But you could probably be better off getting the PS5 digital or the disc, and that comes to my next point. You have to make a decision there when it comes to hustling for the best deal. It might look really good, 289 quid, digital edition PS5, but you've got to think long run, right? The final Dad's here to tell you, he'll be getting the disc edition because you can save more money in the long run by being able to purchase physical games at a lower price than what you would digitally. We talk about it all the time on the show, Scott, but it is important, and you've got to think long term here, but also spend within your means. Don't put don't clamor yourself to death just for the sake of thinking long term in that regard. But you just got to make sure that clan on that bitch indeed. But yeah, PS5's top of the tree, I suppose, in terms of what you can get out there just now. Leads me on to Xbox, Scott. So the Series S and X, they're a bit rarer on the price drop front, I suppose, this year. We're seeing around 40 quid savings on the Series X, so about 469 Argos, around about £419 at Smiths as well. The Series X, or Series S, should I say, is about 269 quid.
Yep.
So saving about 30 quid on that, between 30 and 40 quid on both. I'd say only buy it if you're really keen on Game Pass or if you're already part of that ecosystem. I'd imagine if it's for a younger person in your life, they're going to be wanting the PlayStation 5 over that, to be frank. And, Xbox are not looking to do us any favours in that front. They've got to make some profit back after that sweet Activision acquisition. But all in all, I would say with either console, look at specialist and electric retailers, be savvy, weigh up the option. A disk drive, as I mentioned, might seem more costly, but it might open up those savings down the line as well. I'm going to list off some people to consider here, right? Argos, AO, Amazon, Very, EE, Smiths, Game Collection, Shop2, even though it's a PlayStation Direct, but also think outside the box. There's places like Costco, for example, do decent deals online. And there's also other places such as Hot UK Deals. They're always worth a wee swatch and having a look. So that's probably everything I would give you tips-wise for a console. In terms of accessories, because I know there might be some fellow parents, either for themselves or for others in their life, 'tis the season to get that spare controller. Even the premium ones, such as, you want to pick up a DualSense Edge, which I thoroughly recommend. That was going for $150, for example, or an Xbox Elite controller. They always get decent price cuts at this time of year. And the base DualSense and the base Xbox controller, maybe some nice special edition ones, this is the time to spring for it, to make a saving. So go and have a look at those retailers, have a look. Things to avoid as part of this, I would say, don't buy vouchers full price. Get them cheaper, as we've said before. Go to Shop2, create your own voucher. Canva's free. Go create your own voucher on there, put the code on it, get it from your Shop2 account and give it to somebody, and you'll save yourself a percentage. And it all adds up this time of year, because every penny is a prisoner, as I will like to say. In terms of the game deals, right, Scott, this is where it gets a bit gnarly, right? So my advice here, and I might see if you agree, use your digital storefront as your benchmark for the price to beat. So if you're on PlayStation, go to the PlayStation store. If you're on Xbox, go to the Xbox store. See if it's got a decent deal. See you're in a market for Assassin's Creed Shadows, right? Find what the base price is for that, right? Simply just to have a dig on Google. Try and beat it. Just in terms of the cheapest price, always look to try and beat that price before you dip in. You usually see games at this time of year that are about 2 years old plus on sale. And as for newer games, honestly, wait if you can until January, unless it's a gift, right? But sometimes that voucher hack can be a good workaround as well for the gamer in your life. So if you maybe don't want to buy them the game, be like, I'll just get them a few vouchers. That could also work as well. As for the likes of Nintendo, you just have to suck it up. You're going to get shafted. That's what's going to happen. But I'll come back to that point as well as to why you should wait. For the more discerning gamers amongst us, right? So say you've got all the latest games, you're a dafty like me and Scott, right? Say you're like us, and if you're after the latest stuff, right? You're hunting the big game out there. You want to get on apps like Hotstock. You want to sign up to the premium account, pay a $5, get stock alerts on, beat the scalpers. You might be after a PC component, a graphics card, or a handheld, for example, or a Steam machine next year. This is a good way to stay in front if you've missed the day one stuff. That's a good tip as well that we should share with our lovely listeners. But finally, I would say just don't go daft. Gamers always appreciate a voucher to arm themselves for a January sale. That's what I would say. So if you can't find a game, if you can't find something for that loved one in your life that is a gamer, young or old, we always appreciate a good voucher. If you can't quite find the thing, just do not discredit that. Take the tips that we're giving you there. A lot of the deals at this time of year can also be tat and shite as well. So sometimes the bargain isn't as good as what it's presenting as. And finally, I'd say just keep your cool. post Game Awards, particularly in a couple of weeks' time, there's always sales on the biggest games you might not have played yet, and it can pay to wait a wee bit longer. So you might not see the deal you want on Black Friday, but in a couple of weeks later time after the Jeff Awards, we'll see. We'll see. But that's all I've got to say, Scott. Anything to add?
No. That's fucking very well done there, Liam. We should get you like a weather,
Thank you.
like one of those weather things. Maybe the Scott Batty of video games. Sean Batty. It's you're right though. Just shop around. That's the thing. As parents, we're all guilty of just buy it now for convenience. Go on Amazon, get it straight away because you know it's coming and you can keep an eye on it. Go out and get these things almost immediately because then you don't have to worry about it going missing. But just take your time, man. Let it ride out. Get everything on Christmas Eve and just see what happens. There you go.
That's it, mate. That's it, especially in this digital age, you know. But yeah, if you have spotted any good deals, again, just share it with your fellow gamers. Not necessarily, you don't have to go into your comments, anything like that. Just go online as well. Check Blue Sky. Check your Twitters if you're still on there somehow. Gamers tend to do share when they've got a good bargain. So if they're part of your community and network, pay it forward and let people know, because there's always going to be somebody out there that wants it. Even if you own the game and you stumble across it, you just never know, man. But yeah, with you, just hold your nerve. Black Friday, it can be so easy to FOMO out and buy some shite. But if you really want to just hold your nerve for the thing that you want, it can pay to wait. It definitely can pay to wait. But if it's been useful, let us know. But in the meantime, time to move on to the actual main real topic, Scott, which is, of course, RIP, the console wars, with a big old question mark at the end of it, which you can't see, so we have to say it out loud. But yeah, it's a wee bit of a cheeky, tongue-in-cheek look back in the console wars this week, you know, the daft things, in terms of like who has actually won it, who's lost, but also we look back, because it is really daft when you think about it, though, isn't it? You know, a console war. Kind of pathetic, kind of cringe.
It's something that you really only consider console war to be like Xbox and PlayStation, but then doing even the smallest piece of research for this show, it goes back even further. Like Nintendo and Sega, like even like the Atari and Intellivision back in the day. It's like I have no idea what those things are, but someone did. But yeah, it's incredible. Like the tribalism that exists in all this nonsense. It's like the fact that we're talking about there being a console war is, for want of a better term, Liam, fucking pathetic. I'm going to go and shut my door. You go. Speak on it, King.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of those things where, you know, it's, at the end of the day, it's marketing. You know, having that tribalism baked in to gamers, I think, was a stroke of genius. You know, but we have to go back to things like the gaming magazines and stuff that were out there pushing this type of narrative in a sense without meaning to. But it was always looking to get that one up over your pal that maybe bought the different console. What have you bought that for? They're shite. This is better. Nintendo's great. Sega's, you know, shite, all that type of stuff. It goes all the way further back beyond that. But I can only look at it in the prism of my own experience, and I'll probably start there. You know, you mentioned the key players. For me, the ones I remember growing up, you know, you had Nintendo versus Sega. You had Nintendo versus Sony. Sony v Microsoft, and then we're here, which we'll get to at the end. But I suppose the OG one for me is that going back to Nintendo versus Sega. You know, you're either the Nintendo kid or a Sega kid growing up. Me, I was a Sega kid at first. You know, my parents bought the Master System for me. Right, there's pictures of my mum just sitting up and playing it, which I totally love. She still confesses to playing Alex Kidd on there constantly.
Incredible.
And then Sonic as well, which was the shizzle back then. And then my cousins, they had like the Mega Drive, but they also had the SNES, which I appreciate now because that's where I got to play a lot of classics early doors. Because that's what you did back in the day. You couldn't own and play all of these games that are classics. You know, you had exposure to them through couch co-op, playing with your friends, playing with your cousins and all that. Super Metroid being a highlight. I used to love going with my cousins and just playing that together. And, you know, it just took me forward. You get the Game Boy. That definitely changed the game. and that shift, and then it's all of a sudden you're crossing the wall line. You're like, oh my god, I'm in Nintendo land for the first time, and you don't look back, And it's interesting because that then takes you forward into this Nintendo versus Sony space, and that was probably where, on the battlefront of the console wars, it was like, right, I'm definitely in one camp here. I was very much, it was either N64, PlayStation, I suppose Sega Saturn, but I don't even want to put them in that fight. That would be a shame. They were already fucked up on arrival. But, N64 versus PlayStation, it just, from the get-go, from the moment I first played that PlayStation at my auntie's house a year later, getting it for Christmas, that was me. Like, played N64 at my mate's house, but that was the start of it as a kid. It's like, PlayStation's better. No, this is better. And the wee playground squabbles and all that. I don't know if you can remember any of that stuff. And don't make an old joke.
That was way. That was far beyond my time.
Oh, damn it. He's a PS2 boy. It's definitely a wee good trip down memory lane, though. I think those squabbles, that's the thing that I look back on and laugh, though, because it was about having that one up. Can it do this? Oh, it's well better on PlayStation. It looks shite on that. You know what I mean?
I never saw Sega in my life until I went to my auntie's house. And my auntie had a Mega Drive. We always had like Nintendos in our house. My brother had a Super Nintendo. And I remember playing that thing to death, and like this was the greatest thing of all time. I remember getting my Game Boy and stuff as well. But I remember went up to my auntie's house, and we never went in our room, like, ever. You know what I mean? We lived at the bottom of this cul-de-sac. They lived at the top end of this cul-de-sac. And we used to go up there all the time, but never went into her room. Adult women, that's fine. But when we finally did, we noticed that there was a Mega Drive in the room. I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, what the hell is this thing? And looking at the boxes and the box art and stuff, like,
yeah,
this is ridiculous. Like, what is this bullshit? And then playing Sonic and stuff like that on, you're like, oh no, this thing's fucking good for me. This shit's good. Like, I remember playing like an Olympic game as well on it as well, like, tapping the buttons like a motherfucker, trying to get it to go faster and stuff as well. But at that point, you're too young to realise it. And we all had the same reaction to it, where it was like, this is excellent. Do you know what I mean? Like, we want this to be an addition to this. But the whole console war, my experience of it never came into existence until the PS3, I'd say. PS3, Xbox 360 is the first time that I've even thought about it, and that coincides with my introduction and my grand unveiling of the internet into my life. Like, being able to see other people's opinions on the internet, being like, why are you playing the fucking games now? The Xbox? Shut up. But it's just, aye.
It's funny. It's funny to look back at it, and when you were away shutting the door, I did mention, games magazines being a chief component in it all, because even if I look back to the Xbox versus PS2 days, and even in the lead up to PlayStation 2 coming out, buying games magazines and stuff, and you'd be getting, the juicy first details of what this machine does and all the rest of it, and that's the first kind of introduction into graphics, etc. Then the Xbox comes on the market, and it's like, well, that looks pure shite. Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, that looks alright. Oh no. And you're reading it, it's like the Xbox is better, and then the only way you could rationalise that, being a stupid kid, is like, I bet it's pish. And it's that type of experience of being a gamer, and the tribalism, and it's evolved into something much more sinister, I would argue, as time has went on. But I think, you're right, this Sony versus Microsoft war, the 100-year war, it felt like at the time, but that was the big one, all the way from as soon as Microsoft entered the market, going up against the PS2. And then you fast forward, like it says, 360 versus PS3. We talked about it recently on the show, in fact last week, but so I won't linger on it. But the way that they managed to, take the lead you think of it like a game of football, they were 1-0 down, all of a sudden they're 2-1 up, and it's like, didn't see that one coming, felt new and exciting. The PS3 just had that, and it was like you would very rarely cross the lines, and me being an adult at that time and being able to work, and it's like, cool, I'm going to buy both. And for the first time, crossing that line, and that was the generation where I would look to work and purchase and have all of them, because Nintendo's still part of this, but they were annexed. Nintendo was almost untouchable because they had the Wii, but then having all three for the first time in your life, it's like, right, got the full deck, no game is out of my reach. And it's been like that ever since for me, because I'm like, I can't be bothered with the console wars. And with the dawning of online gaming, it basically just became whatever your pals play, they would go buy the console, and that person would win the console war. Fast forward to the PlayStation 4. You thought in the 360 era that you had, Scott's messing with names here. The 360 era, you thought, right, we'll get Xbox One straight away, but there was just this feeling before the unveiling, like, let's watch and see what happens here. And then that PS4 unveiling completely shifted the console wars back, and you thought, right, this is how it's going. Back and forth and back and forth. And for the first time in like decades, you've seen this kind of status quo being maintained. And the PlayStation 5 hasn't been like the PS4 generation, right, in terms of a console war success. However, as Phil Spencer had said, it was the worst generation to lose, that Xbox One generation. And it feels like this has kind of put an end, fitting into that console war as we know it. And it looks like it's changing in this digital era as well.
You know what we're forgetting here, Liam, is that this whole conversation is completely defunct because Donald Trump finished the console war.
Yeah,
it's done. Like, it's also done. You know what I mean? Dressed in fucking Master Chief costume, he's saved it. He saved it, and it's fine. Like, everything's cool. That actor from Home Alone 2, you're absolutely, you and Phil Spencer are correct, though. It was the worst one to lose, and it was just the creation of this library of games that you would play on it. Do you know what I mean? Like, the PS4 was the de facto console at that point. I defy anyone, genuinely defy anyone to be like, yeah, but the Xbox One was better. It's like, no, it fucking wasn't. Like, I had a fucking Xbox One. Liam made me buy an Xbox One, and I swear to God, I think I turned it on twice. Genuinely turned it on twice. Like, I can only play Crimson Skies once and care about it. Do you know what I mean? Like every other person. But it's just it's an interesting topic of conversation because, you know, recent history now shows us that the console war is completely different to what it previously was. You know, like Xbox seems to have sort of abandoned that whole thing. It's PlayStation have started dipping a toe. Nintendo are like, you know, it's like two people in a fight club and then this guy just off on the other side playing with a fucking Rubik's Cube. Do you know what I mean? Like, Nintendo are just there fannying about, having something to eat. PlayStation and Xbox are definitely the two that you see more from. I know that you've obviously got, you know, PC gamers and stuff, and, you know, but with PlayStation and Xbox, it's more, Xbox seem to be like, you know what, we can find success in other places. You've already seen it with Sea of Thieves. You've seen it. What you're going to see it hopefully with Halo,
Forza Horizon,
Forza, Gears of War and stuff like that coming to it. It's like, it's the right way to go about this. It really is. It's more places to play these games and don't alienate a fan base because, you know, they don't buy the box. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. And PlayStation, you know, with Helldivers coming to Xbox, I don't know how well that's done or how well that's doing, but, you know, it reinvigorates that game in a way. You know, on the Xbox ROG Ally X or whatever, you can play PlayStation titles. So is there a future where that just becomes normal? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it just going to be a PlayStation app similarly to what you would find on like a like a PC desktop kind of thing. It would be cool to see, but who the fuck knows? There's people smarter than get paid more than me that will make this decision. Do you know what I mean? So it's just,
yeah. I mean, I want to come back to Nintendo here when you're talking about all this, because Sony and Microsoft, they've been slugging it out in the modern console wars up to this point, which is all effectively done. I mean, I feel like for the properly now at the end, as we near the end of this current generation of Xbox and PlayStation, because let's face it, one of them is going to blink first next year.
mm-hmm.
And Nintendo have played a pretty clever game up to now. They stumbled into it. The Wii U they thought would be the one, but then the Switch happened. And they've did what they always do, which is target the younger audience and target the general audience. They're looking for people who are strictly, at least to start with, casual gamers. They're not looking for the hardest of hardcore. And they very rarely ever cater towards them. I mean, the fact that the Switch 2 has any type of 4K output is crazy to me, like playing that on a on a Nintendo device. But obviously, modern times catch up with them. But what that does is it indoctrinates people at a young age. It's like they want to be my first game. They want that to be my first game series, and they know that there's such a nostalgia is such a currency for them, and it's such a strong player in this console war. They are the wizards with that, and it's a magic to them, and that's what creates the magic, because they can tap into stuff. Whereas Sony, Xbox, they do have moments. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the remake, for example, coming out, that was probably as close a moment to it. But Sony are in that space now. They've been around for 30 years, where they can start to tap out that nostalgia, but nobody can do it like Nintendo, and they're taking their eye off the ball. Xbox, fuck knows. I mean, they've got arguably Xbox should be absolutely leagues and bounds in front of everybody with all the stuff they've got, the resources and the studios, etc. But they just can't help shut them down and make games more expensive. But Sony have taken their eye off the ball, as we know, this current, era of the console war. They thought, right, we need to go after the multiplayers because we want to get the kids. And that's the problem. The kids now, yes, they'll grow up and they'll all grow up with a Switch Lite. Or like our kids, they have our old Switches and they've got exposure to a Switch too. They know Nintendo, that it's a language that they can speak. They know Mario, they know the Zelda, Princess Peach, all that type of stuff, right? Animal Crossing. But then they also like YouTube and they start to watch the streamers. And this is where I think the console war is taking an interesting crease. And it's this, I hate to use the word rise of PC because I'm going to come to that in a second, but it's almost like this is kind of changing the console war as we know it. And it's now shifting away from console war to storefront wars, because that's where they can get gamers. And that's why I think Xbox are trying to navigate. But the PC is kind of like the grand, ancient, sleeping giant of all of this in gaming. It's been there throughout everything. It's always been always been huge, always catered to the hardcore. And it's the one constant through all of these wars. And I feel that I've had to mute there for a cough.
What was that?
It's gained in popularity, I think, because in the mainstream, thanks to streamers.
Yeah.
What kids are watching, and it's the race now for the best setup. They see people with the cool headset. They see people playing on, these rigs that have like rainbow colours and all the rest of it. It's like, ooh, I want that. And then you start to say, I want the PC gaming chair, I want the PC setup, and kids will be impressionable. And the thing that I think that Sony and Xbox have kind of done and left the door open for this is they've made PC terminology and expectations the norm, because they seeped into the console gaming space. Performance mode versus quality, 4K, 60 frames per second, all that stuff. Bespoke gaming habits that used to be teraflops. Yeah, used to always be PC gaming chat. And then there it was, it's entered the mainstream. And what have you done? You've opened this door, which I find quite exciting and interesting, because you look at Play Anywhere with Xbox, you look at Steam, talk about Steam Machine. Like, is this something now in 5-10 years' time? Is it going to be Steam Machine versus PS6? Is it going to be that type of stuff? Or is it going to be just the storefronts? You've got PlayStation versus Nintendo trying to get there, and PlayStation are fighting a losing battle. Or is it like, I buy PlayStation just to get The Last of Us Part 3, or Intergalactic, but I hardly touch it. But then by that point, Xbox are doing Game Pass everywhere. You know, they might even be on PlayStation, stop selling stuff. Who knows? But I think that's what the next, frontier of this war, as we exit console wars and go into storefront wars. I think that's kind of what it's looking like.
You're absolutely right. I think with PC gaming, it's people like us that ultimately are harmed by it because I don't understand it. I will abuse it to high heaven, but I just don't understand the fucking thing. Honestly, you might as well be speaking a different language with certain matters because it just makes no sense. I think that what I'm excited for, I'm excited and trepidatious at the same time, and that I want to know what next generation looks like. What are Xbox going to do? Obviously, they've come out and said, the box is still going to be there, but all their strategy now is play anywhere. Play anywhere, Xbox cloud gaming. Like Game Pass is still a big thing, but even in this partner direct, whatever showcase bollocks, it was all play anywhere. Like it was the wee green box came up pretty much every single time. And the Game Pass, it used to be Game Pass every single time, but now it's just play anywhere. So how does that evolve and move on to take the next step? Obviously, you're going to see affiliations and integration on this Steam machine. I'm sure, I'm sure that that's going to have something on that as well. Sure, maybe not actually, but I don't know. But PlayStation, what does the fucking PlayStation 6 even look like? What does it have to rival that? Because the Xbox is this whole play anywhere strategy. The strategy that they have is more appealing to the casual gamer, I'd say, than a PlayStation at this moment in time. You know what I mean? And we've been saying it all year, and that what Xbox bring to the table, apart from the price of Game Pass, if Xbox Game Pass remained the same, it would still be the best deal in video games. Do you know what I mean? I think that the price going up is obviously going to harm it for me, but it probably is. The value of it, pays for itself in terms of what you can get, and you can flick it on, you can flick it off at will. What is the PlayStation 6 going to do different that's going to take me from someone that just buys games on it naturally to someone who lives and breathes and dies for PlayStation? Because, Liam, the PlayStation 5 is a fucking phenomenal console, but the resources on it, the Sony, the PlayStation delivery on it has been fucking pish. It's been pish. So, and we're starting to see better games come out now. Yoti, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Returnal years ago. It's by no means been set in the heather alight, but this next generation is going to have to be. They're going to have to knock it out of the park almost immediately. I don't think that, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, is going to be that game. I don't think you bring that out to the zenith of the PlayStation 6. I think it has to be the return of something huge, something fucking enormous that brings that console into the next step. You're not going to get away with, Wolverine 2 or Spider-Man 3. That's not going to be the system seller for this one. It's going to be, it's going to be difficult with it, but it's an exciting prospect in terms of it feels so important at this moment. However, Nintendo they just march to the beat of their own drum, and it's phenomenal, and they get away with it. PC gaming marches to the beat of its own drum as well. We see people who literally they spend £5 on Steam sales and they get 15 million games all at once. It's outrageous. So the value is there, and it's the $1 million question, isn't it?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean,
what happens next?
I think we're there just now. Listen, at the end of the day, they don't just stumble into these things. These are identified trends and audience behaviour. I think since the pandemic, you'll have seen, it used to be the war for the living room. Now it's the war for people's time when they're in comfort because, smartphones have only become more prevalent and people want to have more handheld experiences you want to bring your experience to the person as opposed to bringing the person to your experience. Years ago, it used to be, how do we get their asses out into an arcade or to the cinema? And it's like, let's do home video. Then they get them to the video shop. Now it's like, let's get them to download the film immediately. Then it's like, how do we get them to stream it on their phone? It's slow. It's getting closer and closer to the consumer. And I think that's why these storefronts are going to be the main battleground, and why like you're seeing so many handheld PCs. You're seeing rumours of PlayStation 6 going, hybrid as well as the Switch 2's success, which is absolutely flying out the gates in its first 6 months. And yeah, it's a really, really interesting time. And for me, ultimately, to kind of, in conclusion, I suppose, it's just like, I think about the kids. Somebody please think of the children. And I'm like, I'll sit down and I'll explain the concept of the console wars to my kids, and they'll just be like, "That, what the hell? That sounds so weird." Because all they've known is nothing but parity. They've seen Sonic, they've seen Mario, they've seen everything have equal footing. They didn't know that it's like you could only like one or t'other. Now it's like, no, that's just me as a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
And they've seen the likes of Fortnite that's stuff everything
took
in existence.
Took the words right out of my mouth. The Fortniteification of all things. Like, and what other thing could you have Homer Simpson, Solid Snake, Master Chief, Kratos, fucking some guy dressed as a banana? I'm sure, Uncle Fester's in there somewhere. Like, I'm sure you're going to have some mad Stranger Thing collaboration on there as well. Like, you'll probably have David Harbour's taint flying around. It's
spoilers.
But it is though. It's just there's no political affiliation with these things anymore. They're all just they're all just one now, an amalgamation of all things all together. It's Ready Player One. You know what I mean? Like it's mad. Like that we live in a world where that is just the norm now, and it's great. It's fucking brilliant, but it's crazy.
Like gamers, I never thought that you see the day, but they take more of an interest in culture wars than they do console wars, which is sad. Then you look at things like Gamergate and all that being turning points, but you mentioned Intergalactic. It's like, I know that game's going to have the sauce, it's going to be special, but that culture war piss just ain't going to go away, and I can't be bothered with it when it comes out. Like, can we not? We've lost that ability as gamers almost to just enjoy things. There always has to be a controversy with certain things. If it's like a female lead, or that VL pattern that they hit out with, just play the damn thing and enjoy it. Like, absolute nutters, a lot of them. Anyway, I digress. I'm hoping my kids don't get involved in that pattern, but yeah.
I mean, they would be getting a fucking stern talking to if I found out that was something that was a reality. But like, are you fucking kidding me on? Shut up.
Shut them out.
Shut up.
Just shut them out. There you go. Yeah, you'll learn. You'll learn on the hard way. But I'm black-hearted, Scott. But yeah, I'd be keen to know what our listeners' thoughts are. Do you agree? Is it time to say RIP to the console wars? Is it going to be a storefront thing? Where is it going to land? How do we think the kids are going to take it? Do they think we're going to just be like old grandas talking nonsense? Can they comprehend what a console war even was?
I know.
Is that our back in our day?
Aye. That was that was the something at the time. That was the style at the time, or something like that.
Style at the time. Tied an onion to my belt. Yeah, but I think it's time. I'd be keen to get the thoughts, but it's time for us to move on, Scott. But before we do move on to our last topic of the show, if you enjoy the show and you want to support us, you can, and it won't cost you a penny. So join our free Patreon community. Visit patreon.com/pixelparents for every show, chats, and bonus shows, including SideQuest with Scott, free all the time. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. So please visit youtube.com/@pixelparentspodcast. On that note, it's time for the Pixel Picks Showdown, which each week means we each pick a game from our chosen theme and decide which one deserves to live on the hallowed Pixel Picks list, which is our definitive list of the best games we recommend and pass on to the next generation of gamers. Last week's theme was Best Nintendo Exclusive Game, with Super Mario World becoming the latest addition to the list and concluding that trilogy of exclusivity. And in this week's showdown, we're going to be debating the best system seller game we think should feature on the Pixel Picks list. Keeping things in spirit with the main topic, Scott. It is all about, maybe it's an exclusive, maybe something that played a part in the console war. But anyway, last week's winner goes last, which I believe was your fine self. Yeah, so I'll go first with an honourable mention in the pick, so let's get to it. This is oddly difficult for me, Scott, and I've made it more difficult because I've put down 2 picks and I've not actually checked the list. So I'm going to be back here as I'm just scanning things.
I done the same thing, and as you were going through the spiel, I was like checking to make sure that they're not there, but they're not. So I'm
That's
happy.
fine. I think
I'm happy with that.
For the VAR check, we're all in the clear here, guys. All good to go. Yeah. But yeah, I've got an honourable mention this week, Scott. One that I think wasn't my Mario game, even though it should have been. It was one growing up, but I think in terms of it being a system seller, I can't deny it, and that is Super Mario 64. A Mario game that I've always had mixed feelings on, but I do think that I distinctly remember going past like Dixon's.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? The old electronics shop, the competitor to your one, Scott, to Curry's. And yeah, it was going by and you see the big telly and Mario's big stupid face at the main menu and just watching people just pull it apart. It was one of those things. And then just the iconic opening levels you get to play demos all the time, playing that at my friend's house, and then just getting to experience Mario 64 multiple times through the years. But at the time, it was like, if I'm going to get an N64, when it first came out, it's like, I want to play that game. That was it. This is like pre-GoldenEye, pre-WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy and all that stuff. It was like, I want to play it for that. Pre-Ocarina.
Mm-hmm.
Mario 64 is the one I think would be a good shout for best system seller, but it's not the one that I'm picking this week. The one that I'm picking this week wasn't a launch game for this console, but it came out very early on, and it was one that I remember people flocking out to buy the console. This is what changed people's minds and made people go out and get it within that first couple of years of it being out. Console was the PlayStation 2, and the game in my pick this week is none other than Grand Theft Auto 3, because that was the one I remember. It even made myself more desperate playing that for the first time. I always wanted the PS2, but I didn't get it launched. And playing it at my friend's house, it was like, what is this? It was like, discovering religion for the first time. It was like, oh my God. I was like discovering a munchie box for the first time in your life, should I say, religious experience. And I remember my story to get that game. I had got the console, but immediately it was like, how am I going to get this game? Within that month, I had managed to get my hands on Grand Theft Auto 3, thanks to my great auntie, who took me to the electronics boutique in the Forge in Glasgow and bought it for me on my behalf, because I didn't have any ID, and I was only 12 at the time. The poor woman just went in and got it for me, this absolute violence simulator. But yeah, I still think to this day, the GTA 3 really does need to get a lot of credit when it comes to that initial success boom of the PlayStation 2. Yeah, of course, you had like Metal Gear Solid 2 and all that, but I think for the casual, for the person that was like, 18 to 25-year-old, it's like, yeah, I think I might just go pick up a PS2. It's like just to play GTA 3, passing the controller around at friends' houses and just witnessing this for the first time. Yeah, it has to be that for me this week, but I'm intrigued to get your thoughts.
I completely agree with you. Grand Theft Auto 3 was actually my honourable mention for this week, purely because it's instantly, when you think about early success on the PlayStation 2 and the success that it became, it's almost synonymous with it. And every single person that I remember at that time having a PlayStation 2 always had a copy of Grand Theft Auto 3. I always remember like when you would do the cheat with the flying car, and the game would always like when you were flying over the bridge, and the game would always crash for a second, and then you would cut back in, and you'd be able to land. Great, those wee moments, and I always remember the very beginning of the game, where it's like you got to meet the mechanic guy, and she calls him, they calls him like Spark Plug or something like that. I can't remember. I've played it this year, and I can't even remember what it was, but
Planned it.
Yeah, I did platinum actually. I mean, thanks for reminding me. However, I didn't want to make it my choice for this week. it could well have been though. But my choice for this week is actually on a console that I didn't own. So this is just ridiculous actually being my choice. But
Okay.
a family member owned this console. My cousin Graham had this console. And I remember playing this one game for the very first time and it being like, you're talking about religious experiences, Liam. This was something else. This was me almost reaching enlightenment playing a game. And so much so that I begged my family to buy me this console. But nobody wanted this console, Liam. But the console I'm talking about is none other than the Sega Dreamcast. And the game for me this week, Liam, is Soul Calibur.
Right,
Now, Soul Calibur, number 2 on Metacritic's best games of all time, with a Metascore of 98. I have to tell everyone about that, first of all.
Okay.
This game was everything to me. When I played it, when I would beg to go to my cousin's house to go and play it. If I couldn't go to his house, I was like, I need to be playing this game. And I never did. I never did until I was older, much older. But it looked better than the arcade hardware for it. It was much better than that. Vastly superior to what it looked like on the original arcade actual port of it. And, one of the best fighting games of all time. Would you say? Probably. I mean, I think it's hard to argue.
I would say so, yeah.
And it was, a launch title for the Sega Dreamcast. So I think it's sort of, if we're going by the, what's the words here? If we're going by the remit system seller, nudge nudge wink wink. But it's on a list of games that, let's talk about the other games that were available at the same time then, if you're going to say that. So Sonic Adventure, would you? And it's just a ridiculous title. Soul Calibur's fucking phenomenal. And so much so that even today it's still something that I want to play, and I do regularly still play it on the Switch too, with Soul Calibur 2, because it's one of the best games of all time. But it defines, I would say it defines the Dreamcast's legacy, to be honest with you. It's that you talk about, Mario 64 defining the N64, Final Fantasy 7 being sort of defining the PS1. Soul Calibur is the game that personally, I'm moving down here, is personally the game that when I think about the Dreamcast, it's the first game that comes to my head, is Soul Calibur. When I think of the PS2, it's not Grand Theft Auto 3. Do you know what I mean? That's not the reason why I bought that console. It was Metal Gear Solid 2, and I remember doing it. I remember getting the console from my brother because he bought it. I remember him getting the console and playing the game The Bouncer for the first time and being like, this is now my personality. This is the game that I want to play forever. And I didn't. And then Metal Gear Solid 2 came out and it ruined my life. But yeah, Soul Calibur is my choice for this week, I'd say, in terms of a system seller. A system seller for a terrible console, though. So, yeah, it's a tough one. Because all the other choices would have been picked already.
Oh, we've got him back. Don't worry. He's back. He's frozen a wee bit there. You did get your thoughts that Soul Calibur 2 is your pick. Sorry. I'll all be fine in the recording, so if I've just spoken over Scott, apologies, dear listener. I get your point, yeah, but I think there's an easy way to kind of carve this up, Yes, I know that you've had like the Metacritic one thing just is good, but it's like it doesn't hold water with me because it's kind of gamed a little bit. It's a bit like, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 still being really high up on that list as well, which I love both of these games, but there are better games with lower scores on there. That's for sure. And I know that in my heart of hearts. Also, if I thought about system seller, I think GTA's got Soul Calibur beating two fronts. One, you mentioned it yourself, Dreamcast sales versus PS2. Because these games collectively all help sell it. But I suppose it's sales. I think GTA 3 sold about 14 odd million copies, and Soul Calibur had about 2. So you're talking about games.
Listen, how many PlayStation 2s were sold?
Oh, best-selling console of all time.
Right. How many Dreamcasts were sold? Let's see the percentage. 9.13 million were sold worldwide. So, Liam, I would say that in the grand scheme of things, it's a better percentage of games sold to consoles sold.
And 160 million units for the PlayStation 2. Jesus, man, what a fucking behemoth that was, Christ. It's also because they were selling it in, like, you know, different territories for about fucking 20 years and all that.
Sorry,
I don't know. I think
I'm going to unmute. My wife is looking for crisps. listen to the rustling in the background of crisps. She's come down trying to be quiet and absolutely battered one of the kitchen doors open as well.
I respect it. We all need a munch, especially this time of night, man. How are we going to settle this? I mean, for me, I'm standing firm this week. Usually I'm gentlemanly, but I do think GTA 3 is a better game than Soul Calibur 2. They come at me. More influential, sold more units, sold more consoles.
Heartbreaking. Genuinely heartbreaking. But you're right.
You put both those games in front of a gamer. They're picking GTA 3 all the time.
The box arts. The box art, if you put both of them in front of a gamer, they're definitely picking Soul Calibur. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I just want Soul Calibur to be on the list, but taking it from me again.
You know, that can be your Marvel snap. It'll be fair. I'm not going to advocate for it anymore. It's pish. It's getting one more month at me, Scott, and I might be back.
Yes.
Final dad, this thing. We'll see. Over 3 years though, every day playing that. But anyway, speaking of 3, we've got to hand it to the winner of this week's Pixel Picks Showdown, which is Grand Theft Auto 3, which is now on the Pixel Picks list as our best system seller game. And of course, that brings us to the end of this week's podcast. So thank you once again for joining us. And remember to support small independent games media out there. So if you like what you hear, you enjoyed the podcast, please share us on your social medias of choice. Tell your friends about us or leave a wee 5-star review. Whatever you do, makes a massive difference. So thank you so much for that. And remember to join our free Patreon community at patreon.com/pixelparents to support the show. Test time, Scott. Where can people find you online if they want to talk about the Arsenal?
The Arsenal. 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 See when I'm in the car and Arsenal are playing, I shout that in an English accent all the fucking time. It's so funny. You can find me at lamaman.bsky.social, firing out fucking random shite, like how I watched Twister for the first time the other night, and I was going to put it in writing, Liam, but I thought I'll leave it for the podcast. But fucking hell, Helen Hunt, by the way, she was on another level. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. Man. Disgusting. Bill Paxton as well. A handsome fellow. A very handsome man. And a sad loss. Both. It was a fucking excellent film. I absolutely loved it. I was gripped.
Blown away.
I was blown away. You know, I was blown away. But where can they find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at camelite.bsky.social. I'll try my best to get on there more often. I think of late I'm in a bit of a slump. I don't know. You can sometimes, it's almost overwhelming. Blue Sky a little bit. It's a little bit. You go through shy spots on it, and I'm in a shy spot with it. So we'll see. Speaking of rustling, you can hear my wife in the background now rustling for stuff, as well as my dog, who's doing his best impression of Fred Astaire. But yeah, we should move on as well. So a big massive thank you to our producer and music man, talented and handsome Mr. Sean Murray. Please go show him all the sweet nasty love and check out his work on Instagram at barehandsdesigns and barehandsdesigns.com. You can listen to the next episode on all major podcast platforms and follow us on Blue Sky at pixelparents.bsky.social. Of course, write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. Wherever you are, just like, share, subscribe, and as we always say, just play the damn games. Just keep doing that. You'll be all right. But until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and thanks for listening.
I can't think. I've lost it.
Helen Hunt.
Helen
Full
Hunt,
stop.
by the way, outrageous. Out fucking rageous.